surname Cornell? I'm sorry, tell me your last name again. Cornell. Cornell, yes. C-O-R-N-E-L-L.
C-O-N-N-E-L-L. And Christine's also like grandmother.
How exactly are you related?
My sister Jill is Christine's mother. I have two girls that Christine is very close to, so she was like a third daughter, very close.
What have these listed now?
Christine was a beautiful woman and mother. She loved her son and her whole family so very much and loved being together. How anyone could torture her and put her through so much pain is unbelievable. Christine would never hurt anyone. She had a wonderful heart and was always there for her family and her friends. Gavin saw his mom killed and in pain and suffering. This impact on this little boy was horrific. He at the time thought he may be killed also, and he feared for his life. Gavin sometimes out of the blue will say to any of our family members, "I miss my mom so much." He is a little boy who has seen something none of us will ever see in our lifetime. Gavin has fears that he may never get over for the rest of his life, but he will have all of us in our family to help him, and we will always be there for him. This crime will be something he will think about for years. We all have Gavin, and I thank God he was not killed like his mom. There will always be a part of Christine left on this earth through her son, so we haven't totally lost her, and we will always have our beautiful memories of her. No punishment for this murder will be good enough. Nothing will bring our Christine back. Many tears from hurt hearts have been shed for a long time now, and I'm sure in the future many more will be shed. I hope that God will never forgive what was done to Christine, and that the day the end comes for her killer, that that person will go straight to hell and have pain and suffering forever. Nothing will make us happier. All a person has to do is walk away. And this is from the good witch, and he knows what I'm saying when I say that.
As he walked away, I moved away.
You did it for
I did my problems for 3 days.
No.
I moved away.
You should have walked away that night.
I didn't cheat on my wife.
Yeah, you did.
No, I
You
didn't.
want to take a short recess? Good morning, sir. Would you please state your name?
Donald, look.
Go ahead, please, Mr. Clark.
Our daughter, Christine, has taught us so much tolerance and acceptance of those who are different and to never judge those we do not know. You are a gift to us and all those who knew you. We cry for you every day. Your family misses you more than anything. What he took from us, you can never replace. It is still unbelievable to this day and forever. The dead cannot cry out for justice. It is a duty of all of us to do it for them. This can't be real. This will never ever go away. How this animal took such a beautiful and awesome girl from all of us. We love and miss you so much. Your son Gavin, Mom, Dad, your brother Paul, and all your friends. Let the punishment match the offense. Our family will never escape the grief and loss of our Christine. May he rot in hell because he has chosen to do the unforgiven.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Disclosure and further impact statements.
No, Your Honor. During the course of this trial, I think the court got a sense of who Christine McGee was, but not a full picture of who she was. She was obviously a very beautiful young woman. She was full of life. She would walk into a room and just kind of light the place up. She had a very bubbly personality, and as evidenced by the number of people who came throughout the course of this trial, quite frankly, since the arraignment, throughout the course of all of these proceedings, they're seated here in the courtroom today, obviously has a lot of friends from her entire lifetime, from her childhood forward. Obviously the support of those friends and family who miss her very, very much. When she met Jeff, she wasn't always the person she was when she met him. She was a straight-A student. She did very well in school. She was almost, one could say, a goody two-shoes up until that time. And she got a taste of a very fun life, which was attractive to her. And she went out and she partied and she went to the dance and she loved the 80s music. And she tried to make a go of it with the defendant, as Your Honor is fully aware, that did not end well. And despite all of the problems, despite all the efforts to try and make this marriage work, and I would suggest probably a marriage that never should have happened. These are two people who tried to make a family out of a pregnancy, and it didn't work. It wasn't a good choice for anybody. But efforts were made on both sides of this. The defendant was violent during the course of that relationship. And as Your Honor is aware from evidence that the Commonwealth sought to admit through prior bad act motions, 2007 wasn't the start of that. And as Your Honor is aware by looking at the defendant's record, he has had restraining orders issued against him in the past by his former wife. This is a person who does not do well with women. It appears from his sentencing memo that his former wife cheated on him, and he didn't take penalty to that as well. But that's not the solution. You obviously cannot murder someone. It doesn't justify, mitigate, excuse the actions of the defendant. Obviously, as far as count one is concerned, by statute, the court must impose a life sentence without the possibility of parole. And we obviously would be asking Your Honor to impose that sentence today, as is required. As to the remaining counts, those having to do with the offenses that took place in the bill, I would suggest that they are separate offenses and that they should be punished separately. Gavin McGee not only that day witnessed his mother's murder, was kept in a home with his mother for some period of time with her body, but he was then put into a car and he was driven to another county where he was driven into a truck. I understand that there was a not guilty verdict with regards to the defendant's intent at the time he drove into that truck, but the defendant has been convicted of assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon for the actions of driving his truck into his car into Mike Hudson's truck. And this court should punish separately for the two victims in this case. And it's for that reason that the Commonwealth is asking that a 9 to 10 year sentence be run from and after the murder sentence for the crimes committed against Gavin. As far as the operating to endanger charge, I would ask that the sentence be imposed concurrent with the ABDW charge. I think it's important to note that it wasn't just the defendant's life and Gavin's life that were placed at risk that day. Mike Hudson he's a man with a family, a wife, and 4 kids. He was just driving down the most innocent of witnesses and victims in this case. He was hit that day. And as Your Honor is aware, Route 110 is a very busy road. There could have been any other number of vehicles, but by circumstance that weren't hit that day, and as a result of that collision, there wasn't further damage or further lives taken. As far as the reckless endangerment count, the Commonwealth would be asking that the defendant be placed on probation today, and that he have 2 conditions. One is contained within the Commonwealth sentencing memo, and that is that neither the defendant nor his assignees be permitted to profit from the selling or telling of his story. And with regards to this case, as Your Honor is aware, the victim was supposed to be on the Rock of Love. There were a number of rock stars that she has been associated with during the course of this trial, and certainly the defendant should not profit from this crime. So we would ask that a specific condition be tailored with regards to that. The other condition, talking to the Department of Children and Families who has custody of Gavin, would be that the defendant continue, it has been a condition of his bail, that he continue to have no contact with Gavin unless it is initiated by him or his custodians, which currently is with the Department of Children and Families. So the Commonwealth would ask for those two conditions, that the probation start today and run for a period of 20 years. Thank you.
Well, Your Honor, I submitted a sentencing memo together with letters of support from Mr. McGee's family. It's a mandatory life sentence. I'm asking for a concurrent sentence. As far as the probation with Gavin is concerned, there's no way that Mr. McGee can't have Gavin visit him. He would need the permission of whomever it is that is in control of Gavin's life at that point before any minor can be brought into a DOC facility. So that the need for imposing restraint for the rest of Mr. McGee's life on visitation with his child, I don't know if that's necessary. Second, as far as profiting from this crime, Mr. McGee has never had any contact with any agency or anyone attempting to profit in any way from whatever happened as far as this case is concerned. And I suggest that any allegation that he did is completely unfounded. So I suggest that the court impose a concurrent sentence, consider the letters of support submitted by my client's family, and sentence him to the life without the possibility of parole. Thank you.
Does Mr. McGee wish to speak to his sentence? Ms. Piccio, he has the right to do so.
Can I have 1 second on
Yes.
He does not, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, we'll take a short recess before sentencing is closed. Christine McGee's family, her parents, her brother, and other relatives have lost their beloved daughter, sister, niece, and cousin. Nothing can ever fill that void for them. They have suffered a great deal and will no doubt continue to feel their loss acutely for the rest of their lives. The McGee family, the defendant's parents, siblings, and children, have also suffered, although they have not lost their son in the same terrible way as Christine's family has lost their daughter, as they will be able to see him and to interact with him. They will have to live out their lives with the knowledge of his criminal acts. Caught in the middle and with the greatest burden is 6-year-old Gavin, who will undoubtedly be the most profoundly affected by the tragic circumstances of his father's heinous acts, which have left Gavin effectively without either of his parents. In crafting an appropriate disposition for the offenses for which the defendant stands convicted, I have reviewed and considered the sentencing memoranda submitted by Ms. Folger for the Commonwealth and by Ms. Capiccio for the defendant, as well as numerous statements that have been submitted in writing or have been given orally here in the courtroom from the family members of both the victim, Christine McGee, and the defendant. I have considered the nature and circumstances of the offenses for which the defendant has been convicted. I have considered the defendant's lack of any prior criminal record of convictions and the history of 209A orders against the defendant by a prior spouse. I have also considered the goals of sentencing, that is, punishment for the offenses of which the defendant has been convicted, rehabilitation of the offender, and protection of the community. On count 1, first-degree murder committed with deliberate premeditation, the defendant shall be sentenced to the mandatory term of life in state prison without the possibility of parole. On count 3, assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon on Gavin McGee, the defendant shall be sentenced to a term of no less than 7 nor more than 10 years in state prison to be served from and after the sentence imposed on count 1. This sentence is imposed from and after the sentence imposed on the murder conviction because in the court's view, although the entire sequence of events involved a single criminal enterprise, the criminal enterprise involved separate and distinct acts committed against a second victim, the defendant's son, Gavin. A sentence approaching the maximum penalty permitted by law is appropriate, although in excess of the guidelines due to the nature and circumstances of the offense and the impact, both physical and otherwise, on the victim, Gavin McGee. On count 4, operating a motor vehicle negligently to endanger, the defendant will be sentenced to a term of 2 years in the House of Correction, concurrent with count 1. On count 5, reckless endangerment of a child, the defendant shall be punished by a 20-year term of probation to be served concurrent with a sentence imposed on count 1. Special conditions of probation are as follows. 1, that the defendant and his assignees are prohibited from profiting directly or indirectly from the sale or publication or broadcasting by any media of any facts or circumstances relating to the criminal enterprise which is the subject of this offense or is related to this offense. And 2, that the defendant is to comply with all orders of the Department of Children and Families relating to his son Gavin, including that he continue to have no contact with Gavin during the period of his probation unless initiated by Gavin or initiated by Gavin's legal custodian or guardian. Sentence will be imposed.
There's no objection.
Your objection is noted as submitted.
Jeffrey McGee on indictment number 2008-4-001, you are hired to do a sentence. Court has ordered against you. Court having duly considered your offense. It is ordered by the court that you be punished by confinement in the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for a term of life without parole.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir. As to indictment 003, it is ordered by the court that you are to be punished by confinement in the Massachusetts Correctional Institution at Cedar Junction for a term not exceeding 10 years, no less than 7 years. This is to run from and after the expiration of the sentence on indictment 001. As to 004, it's ordered by the court that be punished by confinement in the House of Correction for a period of 2 years. That sentence is to run concurrently with the sentence on indictment 001. As to 005, is ordered by the court that you be placed on 20 years of probation. That probationary period shall run concurrently with the indictment on 001 to start today. As conditions of that probation, sir, it is ordered by the court that the defendant and his assignees are prohibited from profiting directly or indirectly from the sale or publication or broadcasting by any media of any facts or circumstances relating to the criminal enterprise which is the subject of this offense or is related to this offense. And 2, that you will comply with all the orders of the Department of Children and Families relating to your son Gavin, including that you continue to have no contact with Gavin during the period of the probation unless initiated by Gavin or by Gavin's legal custodian or guardian. Do you understand and agree to these conditions, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Sir, you are notified that you have the right to appeal the trial in this matter, and that must be held in 30 days of this date in writing. You also have the right to appeal the sentences on indictment 003. And it's an automatic appeal on indictment 001. That must be done within 10 days on 003. That also is in writing. And as to 002, jury having returned a verdict of not guilty is ordered by the court that we be discharged on this indictment.
Yes, there's a Yes.
There is a $90 victim witness fee which will be imposed on your minimus. Probation supervision fee is waived. Is there anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, remand officer. 1 minute recess.